Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. It's that time of the week where I go over my takeaways from Week 4 in the NFL and my Week 5 predictions. So let's get started with the Thursday night game between the Dolphins and the Bengals. Now, I was skeptical that Tua had a back injury, and I ended up being right. Yeah, it was a concussion, and unfortunately, he had another one. Now, I'm not going to say losing him costed the Dolphins in that game because you don't really have to change the offense much since Teddy Bridgewater is just a similar type of quarterback. Just maybe doesn't have not as accurate to it, but it's basically similar. And they're now for Cincinnati, they're still not looking pretty at all, but at least they're finding ways to win and to sign that maybe they're hitting their stride now, and they're gonna like go take off like they did towards the end of last year. Vikings versus Saints in London. Kirk Cousins definitely doesn't look as smooth as you think he would with an offensive mind coach now instead of a defensive mind coach like he had at Zimmer. Um, I still think that the Vikings can win the division, turn things around, at least regular season wise. But this is why I wasn't buying them as the postseason, any postseason hype with them when that does come around for them eventually. Just because I don't trust Kirk Cousins when the lights are bright, basically. Now, for the Saints, this starts just an epic disappointment. While they, did have some of their star players like Kamara, Winston, Michael Thomas, while they have those type of players out Sunday, it's like it looks like Dennis Allen, the head coach of the Saints, might have been the wrong hire, even though he's been in house for a while and he's a good defensive mind, No one's debating that, but it's just like I feel like instead of hiring an offensive coach like most of the league is doing these days, and you went with defense instead, I feel like that's definitely showing itself right there, and it might cost you there if you're the Saints unless they get things turned around. Browns versus Falcons. The Falcons definitely took advantage of no Myles Garrett or Jadeveon Clowney for the Browns. The Falcons were able to rush the ball at will against them. I'm still not buying them to make the postseason by any means, but I feel like they're a type of team where like instead of 3 or 4 wins, like I thought they were going to be, it's like okay, now you can potentially go try and make 500 or something like that. Um, and if you're the Browns, like I said, I predicted from the beginning of the season Browns were going to make the playoffs because Deshaun Watson's out for 11 games, but this is one of those games, along with the Jets, 2 weeks ago, where you needed to win in order to get yourself in a better position, and you didn't. So sucks to suck. Commanders versus Cowboys. Nothing surprising here. Washington stuck on offense. The Cowboys didn't have to get the win with Cooper Rush. Now with the Cowboys facing the Rams, and then at the Rams and then at the Eagles following week, we'll kind of see how the Cowboys are going after that. Seahawks versus Lions. Congrats on the Seahawks for taking advantage of the Lions having DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown out. The Lions, fully healthy. I feel like they win this game, but I'm still refusing to buy into the Seahawks hype right now. Yes, they're going to win more than a couple games like I predicted. Maybe it might be 5 or 6, but again, the one time they faced a good team and the 49ers, they get destroyed. So it's like we'll see what happens going forward. Titans versus Colts. Colts once again struggled on offense, and the Titans did just enough on offense to get the win here. I think this bad offense for the Colts will prevent them from winning division at this point. I was definitely wrong on that one. And now I heard rumors that the owner's very unhappy with both the GM, Chris Bell, who I think is a good GM, and head coach Frank Reich. So we'll see how things develop there. Bears versus Giants. Two bad offenses going at it, and despite the QB injuries, the Giants still won. Once again, getting lucky. Says a lot about how bad the Bears are. But Giants' luck will eventually run out, though. The Jaguars versus the Eagles. Once again, the Eagles looked good. The rain, I feel, prevented them from looking even better on offense. But the rain definitely helped the defense, and the Eagles forced like 5 fumbles on Trevor Lawrence. When looking at the schedule, though, it's hard to see when the Eagles could lose next. The Cowboys would be tough, but I just don't see a lot of games where they're going to lose now. I'm not saying they're going to go undefeated. I'm definitely not saying that, but it's like I don't see a lot of losses on the schedule. Jets versus Steelers. Zach Wilson definitely looks rusty to start for his first game of the season. The Jets have, their top 4 tackles out, which does not help either. But Wilson proved in the fourth quarter that he can and lead his team to victory and showing signs of things that maybe he's potentially the answer going for. We'll see if he can follow that up, against a division foe this week against Miami and that good defense. As far as Steelers go, I'm glad they moved on to Kenny Pickett in the second half. I know he was up and down. but the spark was definitely there. And once TJ Watt comes back from injury, then we'll see how the team looks going forward. Bills versus Ravens. Harbaugh has shown over the past few years he's being very aggressive when it comes to going for it on fourth down, or going for 2-point conversions after a touchdown, stuff like that. And once again, he had a choice where you take the automatic 3 or you go for a touchdown. At this point being tied to the Bills, and instead he went for a touchdown, didn't get it. So Bills were able to get the automatic field goal for the win. Instead, if they would have kicked the field goal, could have gone overtime. We'll see what happens there. But it's like the Ravens' schedule does not get easier for them. So, blowing away games like this when they're up 17 points just cannot happen if you're the Ravens. Chargers versus Texans. Way to go, Chargers, to not give away this game despite, a lot of star players out like, Joey Bosa and Rashawn Slater, who's out for the season, Keenan Allen, stuff like that. Cardinals versus Panthers. Arizona still needs to start better, but this is more about how bad Baker Mayfield's looking. And he's looking worse than I thought he was going to look, and my expectations weren't that high. He's lucky Darnold's not healthy, or there's not like a really solid backup behind him, otherwise he'd get benched. So this is definitely his last year as a starting quarterback, and we'll see if he accepts a backup role in the future so he can stay in the league. Patriots versus Packers. Once again, moral defeat here for the Packers. You cannot let the Patriots hang 24 points with a combination of Brian Hoyer and Bailey Zappi, for making his first ever appearance as quarterback, along with those Patriots weapons as well. Packers defense is usually not the problem in this case. Their rush defense is just super bad, so we'll see if they can figure that out going forward. But yeah, Packers just got to play cleaner, especially with the Giants this week. They got to get a nice win there. Broncos versus Raiders. Broncos got more bad injury news. Gregory being out a couple weeks, and then Javonte Williams turned his ACLs out for the year. I was definitely wrong about my Broncos hype in the winning division. I take that back. Hackett is one of those coaches made like a Freddie Kitchens, where after 1 year it just doesn't work and it's clear, and this will cost the Broncos maybe a playoff spot. Chiefs versus Buccaneers. Chiefs just showed against a good Bucs defense, because they're like a top 3 defense in the league, in my opinion, that when things are clicking on all cylinders, they still might, be the favorites to win it after all, despite, their pass defense being a little bit leaky. But at least, and then for the Bucs, at least they finally showed some life on offense, and that'll serve them well going forward. And then Rams versus 49ers. Rams, their offensive line injuries / issues continue to show up, and the Rams need something more than either Cooper Kupp or Tyler Higbee if they're going to have any success. And the 49ers, this is one of the cleaner games from Jimmy G. If he can have those type of games, then it'll be just fine, because the rest of the team's really good. Now it's time over to go my Week 5 NFL predictions to start the Thursday Night Football game between the Colts and the Broncos. Now, Russell Wilson is questionable for this game with a shoulder injury. Indications are that he's most likely going to play. I'm just not sure how effective he will be, but luckily he's playing against a Colts team that's not looking great either, and it's not going to put up a lot of points, so the Broncos aren't going to get in a shootout here by any means. And then Jonathan Taylor's questionable, leaning towards not playing this game, which is bad for the Colts because they don't have a lot of weapons as it is. So a lot of question marks in this game, but I'm going to go with the home team, which the home team's usually, going to win and do better on Thursday Night Football anyways, to win this game. It'd be a close game. I have Denver barely winning 17-16. Next, you got in London, you got the Giants versus Packers. Now, of course, Tyrod Taylor's out in concussion protocol, so he's most not going to play. So it's just a matter of, okay, can Deion Jones play on that bad ankle, or they're going to have a different quarterback play. And I feel like this is a automatic way for the Packers. Now, the one thing, if you're concerned, if you're a Packers fan, is your rush defense has been leaky, and Saquon Barkley, can tear defenses apart right now the way he's playing. So that's the one concern there. But I feel like Packers are going to take care of business and win this time. I'll have Packers winning 20-7. Next, you get the Steelers versus the Bills. I know the Steelers upset the Bills last year, but this is a completely different team. I think, Kenny Pickett will have some, social flashes of goodness here, and he'll also show some flashes of a typical rookie here, which the Bills will take advantage of. And I feel like the Bills will get back to kind of not only winning, but winning kind of easily here, rather than winning 31-14. I know Steelers, do well as an underdog under Mike Tomlin. They don't get blown out a lot, but this is one of those rare times where I'm calling for that. Chargers versus Browns. Again, if Myles Garrett plays, it's definitely going to help me kind of determine this game, Because if Myles Garrett's not playing, J.J. Clown's not playing, then Rashawn Slater being on the line is not going to be that much of a hit as it would be. Plus, um, I feel like the Chargers kind of figured some things out on offense last week, so I'm going to take the Chargers to win here. And I'll have them cover the 3 points as well. I'll have them winning 27-17. Although I could see it being a little bit closer because the Browns like to run the ball, eat clock, and all that, So it could be like 24-17 or 23-17 or something like that. Bears versus Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings here. Just the Bears on offense not going to do enough to win this game, but the Bears defense could potentially keep them in it for a while until the fourth quarter or something like that. So I have the Vikings winning 20-10 and covering 7 points. Lions versus Patriots. This is a coin flip for me because, again, all depends. If Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift are back, I don't think DeAndre Swift might be back this game, maybe next game, but if Amon-Ra St. Brown's back, then the Lions definitely should win this game. But if he's not, then even with Bailey Zappi starting, the Patriots, at home, is going to be tough, especially since the Lions' defense is not that good. So the Patriots' run game should be able to do what they do just fine. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions here to win. I'm going to take the win 24-20. Seahawks versus Saints. You guys tough on me because Seahawks, are playing well recently. Saints aren't, but I'm just going to take the Saints here, whether it's Andy Dalton starting or whoever's playing with the Saints. And just because, again, I don't feel like the Seahawks are being overvalued here. They're getting overhyped because they're off to a decent start. But I like the Saints here at home to get the win, 23-20. I'm not sure. I don't think they'll cover 4 points, but maybe they will. We'll see. Next year, the Dolphins versus the Jets. Dolphins are favored by 3, and we know for sure Teddy Bridgewater is starting this game for Miami. The Dolphins' pass rush against, again, backups on the tackle and all that on the line is definitely a concern. But I do feel like since Teddy Bridgewater is starting instead of Tua, that's going to be easy for the Jets' defense to contain, Teddy Bridgewater than they could with Tua. And I feel like the Jets can maybe force some turnovers like they did against Kenny Pickett. And I have them getting the upset at home here. I have them winning 24-23. Falcons versus Buccaneers. I feel like the Buccaneers figured some things on offense and will get back on track there. And the defense will not give up 41 points. Now, I do feel like because the Falcons have been playing well, and the Buccaneers, still have some injury issues, I do feel like Falcons will make it closer than it should be. Again, I'm not sure the Buccaneers cover the line or not, 7.5, but I have the Buccaneers winning by a touchdown in a 2-point conversion, 24-16. Titans Commanders, the way the Commanders been playing, I know it's at Washington, but I'm gonna have the Titans winning here, 28-17, and they'll easily cover. Texans versus Jaguars. I know Texans have won 8 straight against the Jaguars, but this is where it finally ends, especially being at home here. I'm going to take Jacksonville. I'm going to have the winning pretty easily because I have them winning 28-13. 49ers versus Panthers. Easy peasy here. 49ers win. I feel like they might struggle a little bit on offense, but that's fine. They'll still win like 17-6. It'll be a low-scoring game there. They'll cover the 5 points. Eagles versus Cardinals. Again, because the Cardinals' slow starts, I'm not trusting that over the Eagles with what they are right now, despite the injuries. So I have the Eagles winning 28-16. Cowboys versus Rams. Rams for 4.5. I have no idea who's going to win this game. It's literally a coin flip to me because the Cowboys' pass rush and defense overall is pretty legit. And again, that Rams O-line, the fact that he can only go to Cooper Kupp scares me. Beyond the other side, it's like, well, Cooper rush against a pretty formidable defense side Rams. I want to see how he does here, So I'll take the Cowboys to win here, but it'll be barely. It'll be like 14-13 basically. And then the Sunday Night Football game, get the Bengals versus the Ravens. Again, it's a coin flip type of game for me. But because I know the Ravens are at home and their pass rush should be able to eat at the Bengals' battle line with the way they've been playing recently. But because of the way the pass defense, A, is so weak, and B, they're giving up leads, I just feel like Cincinnati, with the way they're kind of rolling on having better momentum right now, will come in and get the win here. They're winning 24-20. And then last but not least, you get the Raiders versus the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. This is easy peasy. Chiefs will not only win, but cover the 7 points. Raiders will. I know the Raiders looked good last week, but the Broncos and Chiefs are two totally different teams here. I don't feel like the Chiefs are going to all of a sudden just be bad just because they got a good one last week. I feel they'll keep their momentum going. So I have the Chiefs winning 35-17. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel to learn about me. Thank you very much. You all have a wonderful day.